The cuffs snapped shut before I could even finish my sentence. Cold metal tight on my wrists, that sharp clicking sound echoing way louder than it should have in a crowded airport. People stopped talking. Rolling suitcases slowed. Phones came up. And right in front of me stood a woman in a navy blue airline uniform, arms crossed, chin lifted, looking like she'd just caught someone trying to rob her house. Her name badge said Karen Mills, and in that moment I knew my night had officially gone off the rails. 3 minutes earlier, I was just another tired guy trying to get home. Long week, early mornings, too much coffee, not enough sleep. I'd flown from San Jose into Phoenix for a connection, and all I wanted was to sit down, put my headphones on, and disappear for a few hours. That's it. I wasn't looking for trouble. Trouble found me anyway. Here's the thing about airports: you learn a lot about people there. Who's stressed, who's kind, who thinks rules are suggestions, and who thinks they're the rules. Karen was definitely the last one. I saw her from a distance, standing at the gate podium like she owned the place, smiling wide at an older white couple in linen jackets, calling them sweethearts, wishing them a lovely flight. Then I stepped up. Her smile vanished so fast it was almost impressive. She didn't even look at my boarding pass. Just glanced at me, head to toe, then said sharp and loud, "Economy boarding hasn't started. You need to wait over there." I remember blinking because for a second I thought she'd made an honest mistake. Happens all the time. So I smiled, polite, calm, held up my phone. "I'm in first class, seat 2A. She finally looked at the screen, then at me again. Her eyes narrowed. Not confused. Judging. "First class is full," she said, already waving me off. "You'll need to resolve your ticket issue at customer service." That word again. Issue. Like I was a problem that needed to be managed. I felt that familiar heat rise in my chest, the one you get when you realize this isn't about policy anymore. Still, I stayed calm. There is no issue, it's a confirmed ticket. You can scan it. She didn't reach for the scanner. Instead, she crossed her arms and leaned back, raising her voice just enough for the people behind me to hear. "Sir, please step aside. You're holding up legitimate passengers." Legitimate? Yeah, that one landed. A guy behind me sighed loudly. Another man in a blazer muttered something about being late. Karen glanced back at them like she was performing for an audience. Then she turned back to me and said, "I'll need to see your ID and the credit card you used to book this. That's not normal. Anyone who flies knows that. ID, sure. Credit card at the gate. Never. This wasn't procedure, this was pressure. Embarrass him until he leaves." I asked her why she didn't ask the couple before me for the same thing. Her lips tightened. They didn't look like they were trying to sneak into a cabin they couldn't afford. There it was, clear as day. So I reached into my jacket and pulled out my wallet. Not my credit card, my badge. Federal, Aviation Safety Inspector. Real metal, real seal, real ID. I held it up and said quietly, "You can scan my boarding pass now." She laughed. Not a nervous laugh, a loud, confident one. "That is fake," she said. "I've seen better online. Step aside before I call security." At that point, I could feel the eyes burning into my back. Phones recording, people whispering. I told her to call a supervisor. She said she was the supervisor. Then she picked up the phone and called airport police loud enough for everyone to hear, talking about fraud and threats and security concerns. When the officer showed up, she pointed at me like I was contagious. Told them I'd refused to comply, flashed a fake badge, made her feel unsafe. One officer asked for my ID. I gave it to him. He studied it, held it up to the light, hesitated, said it looked real. Karen snapped back that it couldn't be that someone like me wouldn't have that clearance. Someone like me, you know what that means. She dropped the word hijack, and that was it. Everything changed. The officer stiffened, told me to turn around. I said, "You're making a mistake." He didn't answer, just pulled out the cuffs. Click. That was the moment. Standing there, hands cuffed, people staring. I wasn't angry. I was tired. Tired of knowing exactly how this story usually ends if you don't have proof power or the right look. Then a voice cut through the noise. "What's going on here?" A pilot came jogging up the jet bridge, still in uniform. He looked at me, froze, then said my name out loud. Not my last name, my full name, like he knew me. He turned to the officer's voice shaking. "Do you know who that is?" The mood flipped instantly. Like someone hit a switch. The cuffs came off. Apologies started pouring out messy and rushed. Karen's face drained of color. She took a step back, hands trembling suddenly very small behind that podium. I could have yelled. I could have demanded something dramatic. I didn't. I just said boarding was on hold and asked for the station manager. Union rep, too. By the book. Exactly like she claimed she lived by. They pulled her badge. Suspended her on the spot. I walked onto the plane with everyone watching, not cheering, not clapping, just silent. I sat in my seat and stared out the window, heart still pounding, thinking about how close I came to being dragged out for nothing more than existing in the wrong body at the wrong gate. And then, just when I thought the night was done, I smelled it. A weird metallic sweetness in the cabin air. If you've ever worked around aircraft, you know it. Batteries. Lithium. Dangerous stuff. I spotted a guy a few rows back sweating guarding a carry-on that didn't fit under the seat hazard sticker scratched half off. I tried to tell a flight attendant. He brushed me off, clearly still angry about what happened at the gate, said I was paranoid. Seconds later, the bag exploded. Smoke poured out thick and white. People screamed. Someone yelled fire. Training kicked in. I moved before I thought. Towels, water, ice, anything cold. Lithium fires don't play by normal rules. You don't put them out, you slow them down. The man ran. The bag burned through carpet glowing red. We were minutes from losing control of the aircraft. Other passengers helped when they realized how bad it was. We drowned that thing in water, buried it under a metal cart, kept cooling it until the explosion stopped. We made an emergency landing. Fire trucks everywhere. Medics checking people. Turns out the guy had dozens of illegal batteries in his bag. Smuggling. He'd walked right past the gate agent who was too busy profiling me to notice him. That part still sticks with me. Months later, there was a courtroom. Testimony. Consequences. Not just for her, but for the system that let it happen. And when it was over, I didn't feel victorious. I felt sober. Because this wasn't about revenge. It was about what almost happened because of prejudice and ego. So I'm telling you this because I want you to think about it. About how often we decide who belongs before we check the facts. About how dangerous that can be. About how many times people don't get a second chance like I did. Was justice served? Or was it too late? You tell me. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Argue with me if you want. Share a story you've seen or lived through. Because conversations like this are the only way anything actually changes.